I love using white gel pens. They are great for creating highlights and drawing details. But sometimes the roller ball of the white gel pen just doesn't roll well, and when that happens, it's really frustrating. So in this video, I'm going to show you some alternatives to the rollerball white gel pen. I will mention some brands, but I don't have a preference because each tool has its pros and cons, so you have to find a tool that works best for you. Let me start by showing you the two white gel pens that I use. This is the Sakura Jelly Roll 10. This pen is available with 0.5, 0.7 or 1mm tip, and this is the one with 1mm tip. I highly recommend the bigger tip because this will roll better. And when it works well, the lines look beautiful. This is my other option, the Uniball Signo Broad. And the model number for this is UM-153. And I usually have at least 2 white gel pens in my pencil case, just in case one doesn't work. This pen, as the name suggests, will also give you a broad line. So the other day while sketching this, the pens did not work well, so I thought maybe it's time to buy a white brush pen as a backup. So I went online and found this Zig Cartoonist brush pen, which is quite a short pen. This is made by Kuretake and this is made in Japan. The cap cannot be posted behind. Behind is something you can turn to push the piston down to push the ink, which is stored here, out to the brush tip. The nice thing about a brush pen is you can create brush marks and you can see there isn't any ink. So let me just turn this, 1 click, 2 clicks. So once you turn 1 or 2 clicks, you should test the brush pen. If you turn the knob behind more times, there may be excess ink and may overflow. The downside to this brush pen is it can be difficult to get a good feel of how much ink is being squeezed out. The nice thing is you can create brush marks, and if there isn't much ink, you can create dry brush marks. So now you can see the brush is dry and I have to squeeze again and test. Okay, now there's ink. So with a brush pen, you can draw thin lines and you can use the side of the brush to create broad strokes, and this can be useful for filling in large areas. If you want to draw lines with consistent line width, you have to have good control. The downside with this pen is when the brush becomes dry, you have to turn the back and then draw. When it's dry, you have to turn, draw. So this action of drawing, pushing the ink out, drawing, pushing the ink out is kind of inconvenient at times. And now let's take a look at the next brush pen, which is also made by Kuretake. So this design is actually quite common. So that's the brush tip. It's quite small. And before you can use the pen, you have to remove this yellow ring. And now you can put this back all the way and turn this all the way. The cap can be posted behind, so that's convenient. The nice thing about this brush pen is you can squeeze. So while drawing, you can squeeze and you don't have to break from your action of drawing. You can also see the ink move so that you know that the ink is coming out. Squeeze slowly and try not to squeeze too hard because the ink may splatter out. So be careful when you're squeezing the ink, especially on top of your artwork. So this is Kuretake. As for how the pen or the brush pen works, it's very similar to the Zig Cartoonist white brush pen. This brush pen is actually longer compared to the other pens and brush pens that I have, but I'm actually not sure how much ink is inside because this is opaque and I cannot see the ink level, so that's one downside for this brush pen. Next, I have this marker from Arrtx. This is a SimpTap acrylic marker, and because this also has a brush tip, you can create lines from 1 to 6mm. This part here is transparent, so you can see how much ink is inside. And this cap can be posted behind. This is a sponge tip. So this sponge tip is not as flexible compared to the bristle brush tip. But this can still be used to draw thin lines and broad strokes. And the ink flow is actually quite good. If you need more ink, you can push the button at the back to squeeze more ink out. The downside here is this marker is not sold separately, so it has to be purchased from a set. And this is actually a good set of markers with opaque inks. Next, we have the very popular Posca, and the pens or markers can be purchased separately. This pen that I have here has a 0.7mm pin type tip, and the model number is PC-1MR. With some of the pens or brush pens, you may have to shake to get the ink to mix better, and also to get the ink flow to flow better. And when you're shaking, make sure the cap is on, otherwise the ink may splatter out. So this is the Posca pen. If the ink does not look opaque, it may mean the ink is not mixed properly. So with this pen, you can only create consistent line width. You cannot create thicker lines unless you buy a thicker marker. This is the Ohuhu Nahuku acrylic marker with a brush tip. There is a little ball inside for mixing the ink as well. Oops, wrong spelling. So you can see the ink here, it doesn't seem to be as opaque as other options. And for this pen, you cannot squeeze the ink out. It has to rely on gravity to get the ink out. Let's draw some thin lines and broad strokes. It's nice that part of the body is transparent so that you can see how much ink is left. And this is the Molotow One4All acrylic marker with a 2mm tip. This is one of those markers where you have to press down to get the ink out. And you can see this is very opaque. These markers can be purchased individually or as a set. On their website, I see ink refills as well. So to refill this pen, you just have to open the front part here by turning it and just pour ink inside. And you can see how much ink is left. The cap can be posted behind, and be careful with this marker because this can roll off the table quite easily. So this works just like Posca markers, and they are available with different tip sizes. The downside here is, or the limitation here is, since this is a bullet point tip, you can only draw lines with consistent line width. The last tool that I have is the Pentel Milky brush, and this is available in different colors. So this is the white one, and this can be purchased individually. This uses a bristle tip, and you can see this one is new. To get the ink out, you have to press the back, and the cap can be posted, and you can push the cap as well to push the ink out. So this is the Pentel. Okay, I need to squeeze more ink out. Pentel Milky brush. And this uses bristles instead of the sponge tip. The ink for all the pens and brush pens look opaque. So the mechanism for pushing ink out is similar to the Arrtx SimpTap, except this is using bristle instead of sponge, so this will be more flexible. The downside here is I cannot see the ink level. If you cannot see the ink level, I would recommend you get at least 2 so that you can have a backup, especially when you are using these pens or brush pens outdoors. Each tool here has its own pros and cons. Let me know which one you like, and if you know of another tool that can produce white ink but works differently from those that I have here, let me know in the comment section below. I hope this video is useful. Thanks for watching. See you guys again. Bye.